Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. This is our TNA show for the week. Let's get right into it. First thing we want to mention is it's a theme show. Since they've dropped a bunch of pay-per-views, this one's going to be called Destination X. Usually I thought one of their better pay-per-views that they normally put out, but now they've made it a TV show. We'll go right into it. The first thing we want to talk about, the first thing that happened, Bully Ray came out, had a confrontation with Brooke. Hulk Hogan escorts her to the back. I'm over it. The thing of it is, they're cutting talent, cut Brooke Hogan, because A, she's on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, putting up pictures of her real life fiance when she's supposed to be married in wrestling. If she can't even keep the character straight, let's give her, not saying that she has no right to get engaged in real life. By all means do, Brooke. I hope you are happy. But you don't have to put that on Twitter. The world doesn't need to know you're engaged. As far as the wrestling world, we're to believe that you're married already. Just saying. I don't know. It just it annoyed me a bit when they did that. So, little nuances, people. That's what keeps you. The more you can suspend disbelief, the better it is. Now our next one, our first match of the night, is a rematch from last year's main event in Destination X, Bobby Roode versus Austin Aries. Very solid opener match. Aries picks up the win with the Brainbuster, I believe, to sell in my opinion, the way I looked at it was to sell the main event, sell the cash-in of the X Division title for a world title run, to show that Aries was the first to do it and it wasn't really a fluke, as Roode says. Decent way to start the show. Then we get right into the X Division fair of the night. They have three three-way matches to determine the winner of the three goes on to next week in the Ultimate X to have a three-way for the vacant title. I think it's a little weird that they're going to vacate this title once a year if that's what they keep doing with it, or I just don't see the point in that. To me, as someone that thinks a belt should mean something, I think that a belt shouldn't be vacated except for injury or controversy, which is part of the storyline. Anyway, the first one we have, they booked as the past TNA stars that they were bringing back. We had Homicide, who we haven't seen in TNA for a while, Petey Williams, and Sanjay Dutt. Petey and Sanjay have been coming back on and off for the past year. I mean, they're somewhat regulars. It was nice to see Homicide. I thought this was a great match. I thought Homicide killed Petey Williams when he slid down a little bit too far on the Gringo Killer, Cop Killer, whatever they call it in TNA. I know he calls it the Cop Killer in either Ring of Honor and TNA, and the Gringo Killer in whichever one he does in the other. But it looked pretty brutal. Dutt wins with the backflip double stomp, which is another brutal looking move. This is what the X Division used to be about. Innovative maneuvers, looking dangerous. I mean, a lot of guys get hurt wrestling this style of match, and it's not. I mean, this is what it kind of, to me, it kind of showed what the TNA what their X Division used to be, and hopefully they're building to make it that again. Now the next match was the present version of the past, present, and future three-ways, and we had Manic versus Kenny King versus Chavo Guerrero. Kind of feels weird having Chavo Guerrero in the present. It feels like he should be more of a past guy, but since he is active roster, another decent move, another decent match. Manic picks up the win. I mentioned it last week. I don't like Manic going forward being the same character as Suicide, just with a different name. It just, to me, it wasn't interesting. That character has lost a lot of interest to me. The match itself was good. I'm not going to complain about that. Probably would have liked Kenny King to go over, especially with the other two that we find out win a dud, and then the winner in the next one being faces. It would be nice to have one heel in there somewhere. Just saying. Next we have the fight between Main Event Mafia and the Aces and Eights. Main Event Mafia, or Aces and Eights tricks Main Event Mafia to attack him in the back. They sneak attack him, take a angle out in the limo or truck. He comes back in the truck. Kind of hokey, old NWO kind of thing. I don't get how that's part of Destination X, except for the main event being Bully Ray involved, but I guess since it's their biggest storyline, they had to do something with it this week. They could have had, maybe one of their guys, Garrett Bischoff, can be in one of these X matches. I mean, I'm sure he's got to be close to the weight limit they got now, which is retarded because they're supposed to be bound no limits. Anyway, I digress. Our next match after that, well, before we get into the next match, we're going to go into our question of the week from last week. Now, if you remember last week, they also had a theme show. It was the Joker's Wild random tag matches. And the question was, how do you feel about the random tag match? The Joker's Wild used to be Battle Bowl concept. And I told you guys I'd give you my opinion on it this week. Personally, I've never liked it. It's a very convoluted way to put friends against each other, enemies on teams with each other. The whole concept to me is a little hokey. If it was truly random, if we got to see let's say Rubik's and Bully Ray versus Petey Williams and Bobby Roode. I mean, other than and I was just saying stuff at random, looking at the roster, other than the Petey Williams Bobby Roode connection from being in Team Canada, that was just a random picking. I mean, that sounded more interesting than, Roode and Kazarian versus Aries and Daniels, which ended up being a great match, but you know what's going on, you know what's going to happen, and again, it takes away the believability when there's too much predictability. And I'm not the only one that feels this way. I can't be. There has to be others. Now, going into that, our question of the week for this week is, do you like that they're doing themes for the TNA Impact shows, where they're using old pay-per-view themes, like this one in particular, Destination X, and next they're going to do Hardcore Justice or Hard Justice or whatever they're going to call it. They'll be doing that as well. Do you like that they've done that? Tell us what you think. Do you think maybe they should do it as a separate show, like keep Impact where it is? Still give us the free shows that used to be pay-per-views, but maybe do them on a Saturday night, Sunday night, different night. Kind of like they used to do with Clash of Champions. If you think it doesn't change the product at all, just let us know what you think. Hit us up on our Facebook, hit us up on Twitter. Put it down where? Down there in the comments. And going back into the show, we have our future of the X Division match. We have Rubik's versus Rockstar Spud versus Greg Mariciolo. And I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. The guy formerly known as Trent Beretta. Going by his real name here, probably because Vince McMahon owns Trent Beretta. Funny thing before I talk about the match. I noticed on this, a lot of people were online on Twitter talking about Trent Beretta this, Trent Beretta, Trent Beretta, Trent Beretta. But it's the same people that were complaining about the fans chanting Husky Harris at Bray Wyatt. I mean, you can't have your cake and eat it too, people. If you're going to Trent Beretta at Greg Mariciola or whatever he's going by now, or A-Train at Tensai, you got to be okay when someone does it to one of your people that you like. Just because Bray Wyatt's, a darling of the internet fan, Oh, how can they say that? The same people that pulled out Isaac Yankem posters and mocked Kane, or same kind of people that do that, or get upset about when you mess with Bray Wyatt. Just a little tangent off there. I just think it's funny that the same people that are calling this Greg Maraciola, Trent Beretta, are the ones that are upset that people are chanting Husky Harris at Bray Wyatt. A little. But with his name, and that's his actual God-giver birth name, I think, to me, and it's something I said to one of my friends on Twitter, Twitter Bob actually. He was talking about, well, I don't like the name. That'd be like me coming out as Bobby Maraciola. I said, well, we could call you Bobby the Cherry Maraciola, because that's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of a cherry. Sorry. But Maraciola does win the match. Very impressive showing. He's someone, I got to catch him when the developmental territory down here in Florida was still FCW. I caught him a few times live, probably about 4 or 5 or so, and on their show that they did. And he was someone that I wanted to see do a lot more, and they never really gave him his shot in the main roster. I mean, he's someone that's got a lot of talent, that has charisma. I guess he's just someone that falls by the wayside, but hopefully their loss is TNA's gain, and he can pick up right where he left off and become bigger and a bigger star. Next we have Mickie James and Gail Kim. Mickey's running down Gail. They have a little cat fight. Your basic wrestling one-on-one, how to build a feud stuff. It's been done before, it'll be done again. It doesn't move the needle either way. People expect this kind of thing. Now, we're going to go into our main event of the night. Chris Sabin versus Bully Ray for the World Heavyweight Championship. Chris Sabin decided to give his X Division title. I'm going to try and compose myself through this. And this is not just because Bully Ray is one of my favorite wrestlers. Take that aside. Chris Sabin beats Bully Ray for the title. There are so many things wrong with this that I'm going to try and mention them all here. First off, 90% of the match, Bully Ray is dominating Sabin. Sabin wins by hitting Bully Ray with a hammer. Who's the face? Who's the heel? Just saying. That's the first of the problems I had. Second thing, I like Chris Sabin. I don't want to get any hate mail saying, oh, you just hate Chris Sabin. I think Chris Sabin deserves to be the world champion. I really do. It's a deserving spot for him. However, they did not build this properly for him to become the world champion. Chris Sabin hasn't been the one fighting off Aces and Eights for all these months. It's been other guys. It's been Sting. It's been the Main Event Mafia, Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe, Magnus, AJ Styles somewhat, James Storm. He doesn't have the feud history with Bully Ray or Aces and Eights to make this scene important. They had a little they did together, but they didn't build this up enough to where it's a main event caliber match, in my opinion. No knock on Chris Sabin. He deserves that title. He's done plenty for TNA, and I am very happy that he is a champion. And a lot of people are going to say, well, you're crapping on this because your guy lost. No, I really don't care who's champion or not. It's a predetermined thing. So being a champion being a champion of something that's predetermined, yes, I do enjoy it. I enjoy it because it shows to me that the people in the back making the decisions respect the guys that I like and like the guys that I like. Now, then back to what I was saying. You've also got some more issues with this. You've had him defend on pay-per-view against guys like Jeff Hardy, guys like Sting. Now, I understand that both instances that I speak of, There was outside interference that caused the match to go Bully Ray's way. However, Chris Sabin is not on the level of Jeff Hardy or Sting. And if Bully Ray could get past them, he should be able to get past Sabin. And this wasn't booked as an underdog win either, which it could have been, and it would have been a way better way to go with it. Some other issues I have with it: you got the Bound for Glory series going on. The payoff, in my opinion, what I would have liked to see and what I thought they were going with was someone like Magnus running through the Bound for Glory series, challenging Bully Ray. They have that whole build-up. Bully Ray's been a nice long champion. He's defended against all these guys. Boom. Bound for Glory winner beats him. Another issue I have with it, and I hate to keep going on, and I hate being so negative, but I'm just bringing out everything that I disliked about it, because that's how much I disliked it. You put them kind of behind the 8 ball. It's kind of like the Money in the Bank now. Money in the Bank, you cash it in, you're almost guaranteed a world title. The only one that hasn't done, that had it won was John Cena when he cashed in. Everybody else has. So far, they're 2 for 2 for the X Division cash in. I think you should have won 50%. I think you should have did one wins, the next one doesn't. Now, whether the next one after that wins or loses doesn't matter. It keeps it to where next year they come up to it, it makes it a little bit harder decision. Well, last 2 guys won. If I cash in, good chance I'm going to win. But if they have something to think about, cash in or not cash in, more interesting television, in my opinion. But basically, I'm not going to run it down anymore. I've spent minutes here just running down one match. We're going to go right into our staples for the weeks on these show. Our Hulk Hogan Thunder Lips count. We'll go back to being lighthearted a bit. We had 2 Thunder Lips. Right about where I'd like to see it. I don't mind 2 Hulk Hogan appearances. That's about what I'd like it to be at. And we'll go right into the ratings. If you've watched our show before, we go from 1 to 5, 1 being the worst and 5 being the best. 1's a Jesse Goddard's, 2's a Garrett Bischoff, 3's a James Storm, 4's a Christopher Daniels, 5's a Kurt Angle. I'm giving this one a 2, a Garrett Bischoff. The 3 to 4 the 3 X Division matches were amazing. Rude and Aries was amazing, or good. It was as good as the matches they had last year. Mickey and Gail was boring. The opening segment with Brooke Hogan was boring. With Bully Ray, Hulk Hogan, all boring. The main event Mafia, Aces and Eights, boring. I really wished I watched this on DVR so I could have fast forwarded through a lot of this. And you guys just heard me rant for a few minutes on the main event match, so you know what I'm going to say about that. All that put into my overall rating brings us all the way down to a 2. It would be a 1 if there weren't entertaining matches on here. The 3 X Division matches are what kept us from being a 1. And Rude and Aries, it was good. It wasn't great. But this shows a 2. It's a Garrett Bischoff. I mean, coming out of it, I was disappointed. And I don't want that coming out of a show. I could be disappointed in one match, but the whole show just reeked of disappointment to me. But anyway, that's basically what I have to say about that for this week. My name is George Coles, and this has been Heel Heat.